Oh aye, and happy St Andrews Day everybody. It's always preferable that a people's patron saint should somehow be seen to represent some aspect of their innate national psyche, or what the natives would like to believe that they're like. The idea is the denizens should find some inspiration in the legend of a saint's deeds to drive their nation. That's why our Irish cousins, fighting an unwelcome infestation, followed the example of Patrick, who'd cleared out a previous occupation. Or how our English friends and neighbours tried to live up to the dragon-slaying metaphor of George, the saint who killed alien monsters. Since adopting him, they've always been at war with just about every other Johnny foreigner. But I remember, I heard a comedian once tell that Andrew was the perfect saint for us, because when he got martyred, he demanded a diagonal cross. See, Andrew demanded to be nailed up different. The Romans wanted to go with tradition, a horizontal intersecting the vertical. The guard says, "Oh, here, listen to this," and says he wants to be executed, spread eagle, face down, legs apart, pointing skyward. This Sheen here must be Scottish, he was born bloody awkward. And he meant that to be in the right pain. Andy was a stubborn and twisted case, which meant that he was the right person for such a stubborn and twisted race. But Andy wasn't trying to be scurrile and thrawn. We should celebrate those people that break for the norm. So I think that verdict was a wee bit unjustified. He was just inventing a new way to be crucified. And I'd call that quite radical and inventive. That's thinking outside the box. That's imaginative. And those are attributes that do make them Scottish. A nation of trailblazers and trendsetters. The patron, the father of a nation of thinkers, designers and inventors.
We're live. How you doing? Okay, David here with Independence Live. This is the big night in. This is what we've all been waiting for. That was Shaun Moore. We're live in the studio. Here we've got our studio audience. Can we have a look at the studio audience? Can you wave or something? Like actually wake up that we're actually live right down. Right. Okay, so I'm live here with Robert Fullerton. Bob from Reporting Mabbit. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Again, doing great.
So Robert here is a comedy writer. You're also a filmmaker and a self-confessed chancer as well.
Every one of them.
And so you were writing the Reporting Mabbit, which we broadcast back in August. Have you been working on anything since?
Reporting Mabbit's always quite fluid. Everything that we show is a bit crazy, and people say, "What is that?" And then maybe a month later we show another bit and people say, "Oh, that made sense in the last bit." So the last bit I think was a bit of political speaking quite seriously after the wee mini films.
Yeah.
And Ian just now is always gathering more material for Reporting Mabbit. I kind of help him when he shouts, "Give me help."
So Reporting Mabbit is still an ongoing project?
It's still ongoing, it's a bit scattered
live.
a bit, but it's still ongoing.
Okay, excellent. Okay, now as part of this show, I did a little bit of a pre-record there with a poet, Shaun Moore, who you all know. I also spoke with Gordon Ross of IndyCar about various different topics. So, if Kev, you okay to play the VT? We're going to speak to Gordon Ross here about mainstream media and how he prepares for the IndyCar live stream.
We've got the BBC, which is basically the British propaganda machinery on the banks of the river. We've got STV, but again it's owned by ITV, which again is another British public broadcaster. So really we don't have any mainstream media of our own, except the national newspaper. That's usually the exception though, rather than the rule. However, I think now that Alex Salmond has managed to get a toehold by getting his own political chat show on Russia Today, that I think has opened a wee crack in the media wall that straddles Scotland at the moment. And I think that's a hopeful sign. I also know that Salmond and his backers are planning to try and take over of Johnson Press, who run the Scotsman newspaper doing Edinburgh, and a number of other titles as well. If someone does that, manages to get on the board of directors of that firm, I think we might see a few editors at the various British nationalist newspapers disappearing in the near future. Usually it's in response to something somebody has asked me about the day before, or if I've seen something that's particularly annoyed me or inspired me the day before, I'll try and create a show around that issue. This morning actually I was doing one based on pensions, because somebody said to me, everybody that we speak to about independence is saying, well, what the hell's going to happen to their pensions if another Indy referendum vote yes? So that was what the show was about this morning, and it was just in response to a viewer's question. Social media has the ability to hit people directly, and sometimes in just small groups, whereas I can actually tailor some of my shows to very, very specific questions that people ask me about, and those viewers can then go away with that information and use it to convert somebody to voting yes instead of voting no. And once that starts to spread, people on social media start to share these things, and if we have everybody sharing publicly, before you know it, one show has been seen 30, 40,000 times, and that multiplication, that fractal sort of broadcasting system is extremely effective against the pro-British nationalist and mainstream media, which dominates the airwaves, and the newspapers were bombarded every single day with loads and loads of news. Sometimes it's repeated again and again and again to try and drive the points home to us. So my little show in the morning is a way of trying to counter some of that and trying to push back, particularly at the things that people are worried about, and to try to give other people who are working for independence the kind of tools and information that they need to convince individual people. Because if every single one of the independence voters, and there were 1.6 million of them at the last referendum, if 1.6 million people each convince one other person, then you've got over 3 million voters ready to vote yes, and that is a massive majority. I scan all of the mainstream media from every country I can find to try and find what the truth is behind the stories that we are hearing here. And a lot of the time, the foreign media will tell a story about Scotland which the British media is deliberately concealing. RT is very good at this, and that is why the BBC in particular and the British government is very keen to try and demonise Russia, especially Russian television, as being a propaganda outlet. Now, of course, Russian television is a propaganda outlet, but so is the BBC. But the point about Alex Salmond's show is that it's not Russian propaganda. Salmond has full editorial control of his entire production. In fact, his production company belongs to him. It's registered in Glasgow, in fact not very far from this studio, just across the river from here in fact. And Salmond's media company is run by himself and his associates. He runs the production, he decides what goes into his show, he decides who he interviews, and he decides what he says. Nobody writes it for him. The SNP doesn't write it for him, and the Russians don't write it for him. He's trying to allow people to speak freely on his show without the adversarial quality of BBC and ITV interviews. He's not aggressively interviewing people, even people who would be his political opponents normally. He's relaxed and he's chatting with them and allowing them to speak as they wish without interruption. That's an absolutely novel concept for the British media.
With IndyCar, are we back on, Kev? Have to wait.
Yes.
Live back on, okay. So Gordon Ross, IndyCar, does his regular live stream from his own car. Robert, you haven't seen IndyCar?
No, but I've catch a right good drift of what that fellow's talking there.
Absolutely. So what Gordon Ross does, he works from his car, and he takes an ordinary smartphone like this, and all he does is he puts it on his dash, and after doing a little bit of preparation, he does a broadcast, which normally takes about 10 minutes. Quite often it's on a very specific topic, something that somebody's asked about. He does a little bit of preparation and he just speaks. He speaks his mind, you know, and it's done through Facebook. viewing figures are often about maybe 10,000 or thereabouts per video. You guys all IndyCar viewers?
I've seen it a few times.
Yep.
A few times myself.
What do you think of it?
Gordon's very good. I've met him on several occasions. Mostly up at the Indie Artists place. The angle up there.
Up at Wee Scribbles
Scribbles,
shop, yeah.
And he knows what he's talking about. You know, because he does his research on a subject before he starts.
Okay, okay.
I quite like that as well. I quite like what I heard that fellow speaking of there about salmon and what he's doing. I kind of, RT has been given quite a doing those last 2 years or so. Now I've got to say this, I've not had a television in my living room for 4 years now. I just stopped watching the thing. But there's one in my kids' room, one of these things on the wall. But RT was one of the last things that I used to watch. And I liked wee Max Kaiser.
Absolutely.
Now, the point of view that I'm trying to make here is, and I'll not be too long-winded, is we all shoot down RT is Putin's TV, and the BBC somebody's TV. Every TV somebody's TV. But I did find, I've not seen Simon's show, but I did find other shows, they do let people speak. Now, everything's got a point of view to put across, but I see that as more open than their own TV. That's how I kind of watched it.
Absolutely.
Al Jazeera was something similar, and Al Jazeera's been taken away now. I don't know if it's taken away totally in British TV, is it? You still pay for it?
I think if you're paying for channel packages, it's still there, definitely. Yeah.
I
think one thing people maybe have come to the argument a little bit late about RT is they've maybe not been watching a lot of the products that have been on. If you take great journalists like Abby Martin, for example, who now does with Telly Sour, she started off with now am I right in saying it was the Empire Files?
And that
was absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, Breaking the Set was
a big one.
Jesse Ventura's nephew, I can't remember his name, but he looks the same, he's got that same chin.
He's handsome,
and that's Watching the Hawks.
Watching the Hawks,
that's the one where they really start to, look at global power.
Now these things, I feel that they tell us what we know. If you've read a wee bit, they tell you what you know in a wee bit more depth than what any media is going to tell us it. Now the only way they can stop you knowing things like that is by calling it a false knowledge. And I think it doesn't matter what TV programme you're watching or whatever it is, as long as you're aware of false knowledge, then it might not get into you. Or even if it does, you can then realise what it is. So that's how the way I treat all TV stuff and everything I hear coming out the radio. It's coming from somewhere, but it doesn't mean it's all coming from hell.
Well, absolutely. I think it's a lot to do with editorial control, and as we know about Alex Salmon's show, he has full editorial control, and I think that probably does go for these other RT products. Lee Camp's Redacted tonight. If you want to follow American politics, there's no better one-stop shop than Redacted tonight with Lee Camp. I mean, I posted something about on Facebook the other day, just purely because he went to Cuba. And he just reported from Cuba as it is, and I was there in the summer. It's not a communist dystopia of any kind whatsoever. And it's really, really funny. It's a close analysis of that week's American political news, but it's done in such a funny way as well. I mean, they're obviously able to just get away with what they feel they want to get away with, and the shows don't get pulled. Max Kaiser's been on RT since almost the beginning.
That's right.
It's a fantastic show. And
he started discussing quantity of reason when it started.
Absolutely.
He started battering away at quantity of reason when it started.
And this guy's an uber capitalist. I mean, he's an uber capitalist. You know, he's not pushing a Putin agenda of any kind. You know, he's got his own product. And
I find another thing again when you go to TV stations for other places, other planets. It's like see the RTV you talked about Abby Martin there, when Abby Martin first started appearing on RTV, they all went for the angle of sexy woman and this and that. But you find that these females that are on the channels, they've all got the degrees, and Abby Martin's an economics expert and she's went to the best American universities.
She ain't no bimbo.
So you find that it's our TV that maybe puts up females, and forgive me, I'm a female's right, I've got two lassies, but they put their lassies up and don't give them the respect. And our British audience is looking at what's good looking, and if it's good looking on the Russian TV, it's to be hit on. So the TV's awful ambiguous.
Okay. So who's been watching the Alex Salmon show?
I watched the first one.
Yeah.
I think the content was pretty good. I think they had to do a bit of work on the actual presentation, things like Alec wasn't actually following the cameras when they switched, so
Yeah,
there's
sure.
a camera for the side and he's looking that way.
Yeah.
Bits and pieces like that. But I think that shows that it is very much something in its infancy, and his skills are in their infancy as well. The content and the range, and I thought getting Puigdemont on as the leader of Catalonia was such a coup, because to me the British media have been so silent on the whole situation in Catalonia and its implications for independence movements throughout Europe. The silence of the European Union is stunning.
And to recognise him as President Puigdemont, I think was extremely important. Are we okay over there? Yeah, okay. Have you been watching the Alex Salmon show yourself,
I've
Robert?
not seen that yet, but I'll make a point of seeing it now.
It's
And
on-
what you've said there, it's on RT.
It's on RT and it's on every Thursday. It starts off at 6:30 in the morning, so you can actually catch it just before you go to work or whatever if you've not got a
I think
laptop.
you also get it on the internet as well.
Oh,
Absolutely,
that's
so-
better. That's when I'll more likely go. And see, you said sometimes the studios and RTV aren't the perfect thing. I see it with what do you call show and all, the fella for the West End with the hats.
Oh, George Galloway.
George. His show also had that wee shaky bit about it as well. But I think I don't mind that. Too many shows just go dead right, but there's a lot of rubbish that comes out, you know, but it all looks great. And, you know, I mean, the flow show's great, but the content's rubbish. And that's what I tend to see on RTV a few times. The content's great, but the presentation is a bit like myself.
And one of the things that Gordon picks up on there is the power of doing his own bespoke show, where he can be very specific on a topic, which is not necessarily possible for bigger broadcasters to do. So he can take a specific subject that somebody's picked up upon, and he can go right into depth on that. And I think you mentioned Brexit earlier on, just before we went live.
That was Mitch, aye.
Is there anything specific about Brexit you think's just not getting the airtime or being scrutinised closely enough?
Well, basically, I think it's just one big joke. The way they're all fighting over themselves, and David Davis, the breakfast, I was waiting to say breakfast. The Brexit secretary is going to resign if his cabinet pal Damian Green is facing charges of having pornography on his laptop. I mean, scenarios like that are unreal.
Yeah. It's not. Do you know? Don't think that's been scrutinised deeply enough.
No, I don't think so. Then again, his alleged Brexit carry on impact paper. Just a blatant lie.
Okay.
Then a top police officer down south, he gets fined a couple of £1,000 for having his card broken into and top secret papers taken. So how many top secret papers has Theresa May misplaced, shredded, or whatever? So you've got that aspect, and you say to yourself, what's next?
Well, some of these people should face tough questions, but that's one of the things about Alex Salmon's style. I don't know where he got it from, I don't know if he got it to us. It's this kind of non-adversarial style where if he's got a guest on, it's somebody who's got something to say, and they're actually just allowed to make their point, also to conclude the point, which is something that you always get within news, is somebody's just about to conclude what they're saying and they get cut off, and it just means that there was no point in them actually beginning to say what they're going to say in the first place. And that's a new style. That's something that we weren't getting from media before. He's quite eclectic in his sources. He's bringing people on who are not necessarily, he's had conservative lords and baronesses and things, So he's got people for different points of view, and he's allowing people to speak, and he's really opening up a dialogue. So it's something that's kind of shaking up, the media scene right now.
Definitely.
I think that's where this rage against RT is coming from. It's not coming from you know, people's knowledge of the RT products, as we've said, you know.
Aye, and it's also, see what you said there, it's quite notable. See when you get lords or the head of gold companies or people like that on our TV, they almost, I know this has been a filmmaker, we sometimes go into landlords' offices in places like that, they with the living rent and people like that, and you're going to challenge people who are doing wrong. I find sometimes seeing me by a camera on people, they conform. It's incredible. I mean, places where I was to walk in and say to somebody, we're doing this, they just throw me out. Yeah. But see, when my wee pals are put by a camera, they said to actually go with the camera or else throw you out. One of the two, it's even deadline. And this is what I think it is when you go and do stuff with the BBC. The whole BBC impinges on you. Do you know what I mean? They've got letters that size outside their building. So I find that when our lords and all that, or that type of person that you've identified that appear on RTV, they seem more comfortable in themselves to talk to a foreign channel, if you want to call it that, as opposed to their own. So even I see that as a wee bit of loosening of this stuff that the BBC always hammers away at. You can hardly argue against it. And what you were saying, Mitch, about what you've seen with Brexit, now, we've not got that many years between us. Has politics ever been so ridiculous in all your time? It's almost kid on politics. It's like we don't see anything that's happening. We have got ministers surprised about all this. We're finding out things now that the technology lets us find out. And what we're both Cressida Dick and people like that saying, they're drying, shut him down. And it's getting dead obvious now what's happening in our society. It's getting to the side that there's the telling you what's going on, and it's not going on at all, and there's the side of you all shut up. And that's what I see difference in our politics, our age, the years. We used to be politicians kind of stood for things that you could separate them. Now they all stand for one thing that's separate from us. Huh? So that's what I see where media are doing now, it's kind of following that. We've got to do the media. What we're doing tonight, we've got to do the media. Might be a wee bit in its infancy now, but so was Bitcoin a while ago. And that's what I think about all these things that are progressions now. Can I say a funny wee thing and then you go on? That's what I think about political awareness. 2014, my child was 13-year-old and she came home from school one day. This really knocked me for all the years I've known about politics for years and that. This wee come in, she says to me, Dad, me and Sophie were talking in the school year today. And Sophie said, if I had to vote, I would vote no, because I'm scared. And my Robin said, Sophie, if I had to vote, I'd vote yes, because I'm no scared. And then this is a bit that got me. Robin then said to Sophie, look at us two, 13-year-old and talking politics. Oh, that's when I knew Scotland was starting to come to the wee ends up, and that's where our faith lies. And my mum and dad were too desperate to educate me when they came to politics because I was 10 years and we all needed sannies. And I can remember a boiler with a big white pole the day of washing. Don't mean to go too far back. We were able to educate our kids. We lived quite well. Even I'm on benefits because of my industrial diseases. But now that I've got the benefits, I can live, get in the battle to get them. So our wains, I think, are easier educated than we were because we have more time. And that's what I have faced on the next, what's coming next politically. It's this big tranche of kids who are all 14, 16, 17, 18 and now.
Brilliant, isn't it? Would you say that you were always political?
Oh, aye. Aye, you can't help it. I was born and brought up in Govan. I was out of school right into the shipyards. Aye, you can't help it. And it's the talkie everywhere. And political when you get older isn't it what people have told you, it's what you've learned yourself. That's what I think, you know, the guys my age and your ages are like both with the politics, because we were made to learn it. It's not just old talk doing about you, you know. And that's as when you're young, it's just opinions and opinions. But when you start forming your own, you're not going to budge for them, you know.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we spoke to Gordon Ross about being political. So, Kevin, are we okay to run the VT there?
Yeah,
okay. Just give us that a little moment.
Even at the age of about 15, I was involved in what I'd say was the first ecological battles in Scotland, the first green stirrings of trying to protect wildlife. I lived on the coast and I was involved in a local campaign to save a whole stretch of beach down near Hunterston, which was later completely overwhelmed by a massive iron ore terminal which the Labour government decided to build there, which completely wrecked the mudflats and habitats of thousands of seabirds, and wrecked also a whole series of natural mussel beds, cockle beds and other sort of fairly important ecological features in the landscape. So I was involved in that even from a young age, from teenage years. I was on marches, we were lying down in front of bulldozers, so yes, I was quite political from a very early age. And I'd say I was a very much a green child of the 1970s. I was growing up, and even at that age I was looking at the sea and thinking there's power in the sea that we could be using, there's power in the wind that we could be using, and yet I was looking out over an oil terminal towards a nuclear power station, neither of which I particularly wanted anywhere near me.
I'm not sure it's supposed to have done that. Okay. Was there 2 videos there, Kev?
Oh yes, sorry.
Okay, we'll just one more about a green future, and then we'll come back to the chat.
I think the whole future is green. Scotland is uniquely placed actually because it sits at a nexus of power cables. To the north of us is Iceland. Iceland is producing a gigantic quantity of geothermal energy from its massive volcanism, and they can generate far more electricity than they need, so they're planning to run a power cable to Scotland. Scotland, in its turn, produces far more wind energy than it needs, and when the tidal energy is fully connected, particularly up at the Pentland Firth, Scotland should produce about 5 times its annual need for electricity. So where is that going to go? And the only place it can really go is either down south into England, and then from England through into the near continent, or directly across the North Sea to perhaps Denmark or Sweden, where it can connect with the European grid. But one thing's for sure, Scotland is sitting on top of a mountain of coal, floating on a sea of oil and gas, surrounded by moving water and moving wind. It couldn't be better placed for generating power and electricity. So the only sustainable future for a country like that has got to be energy production.
Okay, so yeah, Gordon there. He's always been political. He was campaigning against the Hunterston power station, and we're looking towards a green future. But as we were saying there, I mean, it's very, very important to be political. If people are not political, the consequence is that the corporations or whatever are just going to run away with the whole show. But at the moment, I mean, this is a big thing, is that Scotland is at a sort of a crossroads in terms of where we're going to go with our industrial future. Are we going to be this powerhouse of renewable energy? Because the potential is absolutely massive, but unfortunately this is a political thing where we're being led to think that in some way it's either not achievable or it somehow needs Britain to give it the foot up that it needs. That's another misnomer. Or that green energy is too expensive, that it's somehow going to take away from the economy rather than give to the economy. And it's we're at a point here where we really need to start kenning up, get ourselves really into the thinking about how we're actually going to go forward as a country. There's a great video which nobody ever gets to see, but it was done for the Scottish Government for a conference, and it shows you Scotland's green energy potential. And at maximum, the figures are something like, we could have an extra 150,000 new skilled jobs in Scotland, should we get up to sort of somewhere close to our capacity. We're actually able Now this would be a maximum situation where you've got a windmill everywhere and a wave generator in every part of the sea. We could actually have 10 times our consumption. We could actually be producing 10 times over what we consume. That's something which is possible. Obviously, you don't want to do, that, because we still want to keep land for animals and things like that. But the actual money that could come in, because you're selling that energy, you're selling it through an interconnector that already exists down into England, across to Ireland, building the new interconnector that goes across to the European grid. It's the trillions. It's not just the millions and the billions, it's actually the trillions. That's the kind of revenue that we're talking about. And I don't think people understand that. It's not something that's getting discussed properly.
See, if you were a Saudi Arabian, you would understand that scale. Because that's what the Saudi Arabians have. They have oil, real deal. Scotland had a kind of share of oil for a period of time, and I've got 3 brothers working in the industry. One of them's a refinery designer now. He's been that long in it. He's in Africa, making big oil stains over the Delta in Nigeria. So we've had oil as a kind of main part of us, but it's just too wee. The Saudis have had oil as a main part of them, the main part, and the Saudis are already thinking plans that this can't be the economy. They want their own Dubai, or they want what their own ideas are to do now. So when Scotland talks about its oil and it's impossible to do this and do that and do, look at the Saudis, the scale that they're planning on. So for Scotland to do something with oil isn't impossible anymore, because of what you're saying, all this other energies around Scotland. Unfortunately, the Saudis haven't got any water in their desert. And when the wind blows, it just blows sand. We've got water all around about us. Christ, I wake up and it's in my ears. Do you know what I mean? We've got water and wind everywhere. So the idea that it's far away for us is dead foreign to me, because it's no far away to other people who have an oil economy who's much changed now. That's what we're heading for.
Now, when I worked in Spain and I had engineers, etc., as clients, and I'd show them this video just as a wee, like a bit of homework, here's a wee 5-minute video, what can you tell me about, the things that were mentioned? And they were absolutely, first of all, astonished at the potential that Scotland has, and they understood it from an engineering point of view. I mean, they could, they really, their heads are in this. But the second thing that they were absolutely flabbergasted was that we don't know about it. We in Scotland don't, if you ask people in the street, even if you ask people at an SNP conference, maybe even at a Green Party conference, they don't really know and understand. And there's a lot of this idea that we need a base load and it's got to come from nuclear. And this is a political thing. This is where, this is exactly where it's very important to be political, because it's all about where does the investment for the long term go now. Because if it goes into nuclear, that's that long term investment not going in to the renewable
I think
future.
the Nig Bay place was threatened just weeks ago, was it no? The Nig, is it high fab they call it? It used to be high fab for rigs, but there's a big shed up there at Nig, and they were building the blades, or they were assembling them there, and that was in financial trouble just 2 or 3. Again, I don't have a TV, I hear this on the radio at night, and that actually, I talked to my brother, he shipyards and then up to the first oil, which the Ninian Central, and that was built. My brother was on the contracts. He's 60 now, he's more than that, he's older than me, he's about to retire. And he's went all over the world with that again. And as time has went on, he's became a draftsman, an estimator, and now he's went to putting refineries in. They took away a forest down in Port, I can't remember the name of it, Swanage and Poole, Dorset. They took away a forest there, put a refinery and put the forest back on, and weren't to work on the Sundays because of the red squirrels. Now, that's how big things get done, do you know what I mean? And my own family are in amongst that. So nothing's impossible when it comes to engineering and what you can turn around with an economy. It's just the media telling you what you can and can't do.
Yeah, it's not so much, they're not telling us what we need to know, they're telling us what they want us to be confused about. And there's an awful lot of that kind of confusion.
It's terrible. It's what made me throw the tell, you know what I mean?
No, that's it. You should absolutely not have it, especially if you've got kids. Don't expose children to that. It's not right. No right at all. So how much of a green future do you see for Scotland? What's your vision?
Well, I think it's like...
Whoa! A bit of feedback there, Kev?
We got.
Sorry about that, everyone. Sorry, what's your green future for Scotland?
I was going to say it's either a green future or no future for the planet.
Yeah.
Never mind just Scotland.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a retired science teacher and did a fair amount on alternative energies and teaching. And the thing I used to say is, the problem with the fossil fuels is not a lack of supply. It's there. We might not have discovered it yet. When I was a wee boy and oil was first discovered,
That we're not able, he was talking about inventors, and us Scots, we always talk about McAdam and all these different people, Logie Baird and Bell and all these Scottish people. They still exist. It's not as if they stopped being born, and that's who's going to be carrying on the next scenario. They're beautiful inventors coming to this place, as always, but we need more freedom to let them free.
Yeah.
Anything that's ever going to be sponsored by another place is always going to be lacking a wee bit for its aim.
Okay.
When you take sponsorship for anywhere else, it's always going to take away from your aim. But you were doing that's what we're doing with London, we're sponsored by them.
Yeah. Okay, well, I spoke again to Gordon Ross, and we actually spoke about the subject of oil, and Gordon comes from a green point of view. So, Kev, you okay to run the VT there, oil, and we're talking about technology as well? Yeah. Yeah, okay.
The thing about oil is it's not just a fuel. As you probably know, it contains obviously things like petrol, diesel, contains fuel oil, contains kerosene and other spirits that can be used as fuels. But a large proportion of a barrel of oil is useless for fuel, but it's excellent for chemicals. And chemicals are the things that you need for things like paints, adhesives, plastics, composites, medical components. There's all sorts of things, including things like alcohol for medical equipment. So there's a phenomenal amount of different products that you can distill out of a barrel of oil. You don't need to burn it all. In fact, I was lucky enough to meet 3 Indian students a few years ago who had come out of Glasgow University with their doctorates in chemistry. And they were about to set up the world's first plastic to gas, plastic to oil conversion plant near Grangemouth. And what they were proposing to do was to take waste plastic, waste oil, and put it into this machine, and it would actually tear the molecules of that material apart and turn it into natural gas, or even turn it into oil. But the machine had the capability to turn virtually any of these chemicals into any other combination they wanted. Phenomenal machine. I mean, it's almost like it's like sorcery. It's like the ability to turn lead into gold, except they could turn raw oil into plastic, or they could turn gas into plastic, or plastic into gas. Now, if you can do that sort of chemistry on an industrial scale in a place like Grangemouth, then all that oil that's sitting in the North Sea that's still not been extracted can be used over and over again, especially if you don't burn it. If you use it in the way that these guys are going to do, it can be used for plastics. The plastics can be recycled back into gas. The gas could be used for fuel if you want, or you could convert it back into oil. The oil can be used as a lubricant. There's so many different things that you can do with that stuff other than burning it. Scotland has lived for a long time in ignorance, thinking that it was a poor place with very little going for it. And there's a lot of scientific work that's been going on in the background which never ever gets to the light of day, never appears on TV. The MRI scanner was invented in Scotland. Most people don't know that. And yet the MRI scanner has probably been the most effective way of finding tiny tumours that we've had so far. And so it's altered the treatment of cancer dramatically. So that alone is worth it. But on the other hand, we have all these other industries, such as the aluminium smelting industry, which is alive and well again. Steel making is still going, and it's going to get bigger. The Scottish Government has realised that it needs to build an industrial core to the country, a spine, a backbone of production that can produce things like raw materials, like metals, like aluminium and steel, but also can still produce things like gas and coal where they're needed. It's taken 40 years for Scotland to rebuild its manufacturing infrastructure, to get it back to something like what it was 40 years ago, at least to a point where we can build ships, we can build cars, we can maybe build aircraft again. We used to do all of these things. We had factories producing cars, we had factories producing airplanes and helicopters, and we had shipyards that were busy all the time. There's no reason why that can't happen again. I think there's going to be a market for electric ferries, for tidal-powered electric ferries, and all manner of new things. So Scotland is going to be at the forefront of it, and it's already begun.
We're live again? Okay. Yeah, we've been led to sort of believe that we're a poor country and that we don't have much, and we kind of need it to be given to us, and we're sitting in a wealth, an absolute wealth, and what he's talking about there, there's an intellectual wealth going on as well. It's not just about resources, it's the mind that's involved in this as well. But oil is something we've just mentioned there. We can't continue just to burn all the oil, but oil still has its value. One value it's even got without even extracting it is in the same way as gold. You don't actually do anything with gold. Gold sits in bars and it sits as bullion in protected vaults. But it's a foundation to an economy. And Scotland has that vault of black gold as a foundation to a new economy by not extracting oil, which is a fantastic position to be in. But we've also got options to use oil in different ways, which doesn't involve destroying the planet. Yeah.
Now, as a friend saying you're a science teacher, everything that boy said there, it's all possible. And again, that's what I think about. It's a confidence in knowing what's possible. Again, if you don't have independence, you can't even get your own bed in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, the actual funds to do to implement these kinds of projects are tied up in Westminster. It's actually Scottish money which has gone there, and it's been banked up. But the actual it has to be signed off by somebody in London to come back up. And at the moment, we've had various projects which they haven't allowed us to implement, and that's one where it's a new technology which can convert oils. Oil, of course, makes plastic, and plastic is something which we use. It's all around us here. It can also can make a gas. The gas could be burned. It can turn plastics back into oil. The oil can be used in different ways. Lubricants and things like that. It also makes pharmaceutical products. Most of our medicines come from oil. With the alcohols, things which are just
some alcohols,
which are used in all of our industries and also all of our medicines. So oil has a great role to play, and it's extremely valuable. But as a science teacher, I mean, what are your thoughts about oil and how we need to go forward with it?
I remember
what works, because there's loads of great ideas. But as a scientist, what would you say really actually works?
I would go back to one of my own science teachers said when I was a boy, is that future generations will not believe that we had such a phenomenal resource at our fingertips and we burned it. Would you take your £50 notes and £100 notes and put a match to them and burn them to heat the house? It's hardly an efficient use of that particular resource. So to use the fossil fuels or oil simply as fuel is extremely wasteful, as well as being damaging to the planet. The whole plastics industry, pharmaceuticals industry, paints, the incredible amount of things could be based on the oil, and then almost it becomes a recycling industry, that the plastics can be recycled back into oil. That same oil can then be put back into one of these machines and come out as a different plastic. And the use the potential long-term use and recycling is utterly incredible, and it has to be the way to go. But we need to do more investigation, we need to put more investment in, and we should be putting millions or billions into that rather than atomic weapons and an aircraft carrier and a ship that's got new ship that's got doors that can't close and things like this.
Engines that don't work.
You know, we are an incredibly wasteful society, and it seems to me that it's almost part of the Westminster system, the way it props itself up, is to be wasteful.
I mean, John Perkins, I spoke to John Perkins a couple of years ago now, I think, a year and a half ago, and he talks about a death economy, because everything that the corporations are doing now is about destruction, and it's bringing us to the point of death, and what he sees is that we've got to turn this on its head, and we've got to have I can't remember what he actually calls it, let's call it a life economy, but there's now a case for actually harvesting plastic from the sea.
I know.
There's so much plastic in the sea now that to actually harvest plastic is a new potential new industry, and if we can actually bring this stuff back and get it out of there and use it somehow positively, put it into devices which convert it into something positive, that's bringing life back.
I see what you were saying there about the plastics. The plastic industry went that crazy that the ocean started shouting at us. How bad could it get, And this is what I think is the technologies. Technologies tend to be like, they're great. Vanta Black has been invented, That Anush Kapoor, the artist, he's copyrighted it for him. So what you get is Vanta Black. Have you heard of Vanta Black? It's the blackest black that's ever been invented.
Blacker than priest's socks?
Aye.
Right, okay.
Aye. And it's like, it's that black that when you put a black object on it, there's no 3D. It just, you can't see. Vanta Black, have you ever heard of Vanta Black yet?
I think I've vaguely...
It's invented a couple of years ago.
Right, okay.
And it's the darkest black that what we come about with. Fantastic. At one time, oil was a beautiful thing. That was, whoa. There's wee beads that size over the sea. I wonder where Vanta Black will get to once somebody exploits it. Well, we're walking about bumping into each other if we were back, please. So, you know what I mean? So anything that's a wondrous invention that's got all these scientific properties, see, once that capitalism gets in amongst it, that's how we've got these wee beads in the ocean, you know what I mean? It's because of makeup and things like that, and different things. The ocean's full of hormones. So I think that the idea of whatever new life economy we need to have, it needs to be that when things come up that are to be used, you can't restrict things, but other uses are just, I mean, why does it need to take us a generation to find out that the plastics in the oceans or that Nigeria delta's ruined? We see it happening as it's happening. So that's politics, and again, what you've got the British government for years have been exploiting and ruining. So when it comes to modern technologies, they're not going to stop doing it. Again, that's one of the things that I look for in independence. A wee bit like once you get independent, you can then start deciding what way we like, whether we're left wing or we're Tory or we're middle of the road, but we're not doing ourselves up somebody down south. Then I think your economies and our ways of discussing things have got a chance.
Yeah, it's just a shame that there's not even like a trial of this technology happening, even a small scale, so at least we could be talking about the results of it and how well it performs, but at the moment it's quite hypothetical. He does talk about, I mean, obviously we need to use a lot of ferries in Scotland. We've got a great heritage sitting right here of shipbuilding. In fact, you were involved in shipbuilding, Robert. But we continue to build seacraft. It's something that's never going to go away. We still float on water. Scotland's surrounded by water, lots of islands, and there's new electric ferries which we're going to start moving towards, which can be charged on tidal power.
I know it escapes me a wee bit. The last time I worked in government was Caverna. I ended up and I damaged my spine, and that's what took me out of the shipyards. I started in shipyard. It was all merchantmen, all the ships. It was all bulk carriers. They were called Type 23s. And then Caverna came in and started doing the ferries with great big giant engines, things that we'd never seen. The things they built in Sweden and Norway, and we all travelled on them with P&O. We built a couple of them in a year, and then they built liquid petroleum gas ships. They were right high tech. And then after that I went to BAE, and now we've got belligerents at every turn round. I heard one of the MPs talking yesterday about that new aircraft carrier. Will be good to, what was it they said? It was something dead stupid. It was like, it would be good to help us deal with terrorists. And I'm like, what? That aircraft carrier? So I think now we went again because the British stuff were desperation up here. Government should never have been making ships like that. Government should have been doing that. I don't think so anyway. Pierce was the last person to do that in government. Build big battleships and things like that. I don't know. I don't think it's for us to do that. I think it's for us to do ferries, fishing boats and stuff like that, you know.
Absolutely.
We had to back it, and then the Norwegians and all that, and better shipbuilders than us took it. And you'll not get it back now. We need to build up a different, that wee place at Greenock is doing well now.
Ferguson's?
Wee Ferguson's, I went out there and visited them.
Right.
They're doing lovely wee boats now, they're doing service boats and all that stuff and ferries. And they know their size, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I think they've got more chance of surviving in Govan. They're the big piece when it comes to the deeper water down there. And I mean, once they get, I live in Govan. My window looks out that shipyard. That's not going to be a shipyard forever, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing shipyardy in Govan round about it anymore. We've got the British Polar engines up in Helen Street around that, we've not got any of that anymore. So the evidence for me is that Govan's love it to make a comeback, but I don't think I can see it.
Okay. Right, well, let's have a look at Gordon Ross again. So I spoke to Gordon Ross just briefly. There's a video here on the Republic. Kev, are you okay to run that VT?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So just give it a wee second here. So this basically asked Gordon whether there's a future for the monarchy.
In the long term, I think that would be my aim. I'm largely ambivalent about royalty because I see a value in preserving some of our history, and by keeping perhaps a small amount of royalty still around in Scotland, maybe having a king or queen, but somebody who is a public employee rather than a revered deity of a person, that would be my preference. I think in the long term, though, we will end up being a republic because people want to elect a leader. They want somebody who's popular and is going to speak for their country. That might be a king, but I don't know. I don't see it. I think hereditary monarchy is a thing of the past.
Okay, so just short and sweet that one there. He's got two ways of looking at it. One is to keep the monarchy preserves in some way historical tradition, but then the other way of looking at it is a modern progressive society. Is there any room for a king or a queen, hereditary privilege and all that kind of thing? Guys, what are your thoughts on the monarchy? Are you ambivalent to it? Is it you got a neutral point of view? Is anybody really quite Republican, or is there anybody pro monarchy? Just you can put your hand up if you want. Is anybody pro monarchy? So some people are. I'll never meet them. But
I think the question is independence first, and then we can make a decision.
Absolutely.
I
see.
I would agree on that you shouldn't group it into the same referendum, but as we go into the future, how does Scotland go forward? Should Scotland maintain?
I'm sorry I keep laughing because I think we should keep the Queen.
Right, okay.
But it should be my ma for the Queen for the first month, then your ma the next month. And if we go all the ma's for new to eternity, you know what I mean? Keep the Queen, but just make it somebody's ma next week and another one next month. And gear the whole diddle, you know what I mean? I'll be the royal family for that month. I'll do that. And then next month it's you.
Right. I mean that's the other way of looking at it, is like you can actually keep your royal family, but don't have
Dish it out.
Aye.
Dish it out.
Have it as a sort of a
Would you like to be king, Mitch?
No.
No.
Okay, right, what's it?
If I could do what I wanted, then I'd be immune from prosecution.
Well, you would be. Look at Andrew.
Oh dear, don't.
You would.
Now, Robert, am I right in saying you've got a brilliant poem about...
I've got a funny wee poem. No, I didn't know we were going to be talking about this tonight because I was there a couple other nights and I was writing poems I try and write things for the night that I'm going to.
Yeah.
So they're not very good. Because you've not sat and worked about it for weeks and weeks, they just batter them out. But a couple of weeks ago it came to me, we were the Victorians and we were the Edwardians. And we've been the one, and who else have we been? The Georgians.
Georgians, yeah.
So
Elizabethans.
we're the Elizabethans right now. Yeah. But see, when this one's out and Charles becomes king, we're going to become the Charlies. Nah, the third Charlies. There was a Charles the first and a Charles the second. We're Charlie the third. So we hear this one, this made me think. It's called the third Charlies. We are the Elizabethans. This era of modern Caesars is profound. This is our second Elizabethan longevity and splendour, while still in poverty, our subjects are bound. When we were the Edwardians, royal cousins spoiled for power through war, blood-drenched, poisoned trenches full of dead men. Is that what kings were? When we were the Victorians, patronage raged through the royal court cliques, tenements and common law built against law, earls and barons as landlords honing monster rationing techniques. When we have King Charlie, will we be the Charlies? Will he inherit those shares in Bright House? Will we still be paying for palace and pomp? Or will we just shut down the whole shite house? Thank you. I say they're not very profound.
There's another way of looking at it, because if Charlie gets kind of looked over and they put William in,
Aye.
it's going to be King Billy. How do you feel about that? Can you
know
handle it a second time?
Do you know think the boys might chuck it?
Aye.
Do you know think the boys might say, we'll wrap this now? Do you think that? Does anybody think that even for a minute? No, it's just too hard. Boom, boom, boom.
I think they would have chucked it by now if that was an option.
See, I don't think they were modern enough for that to be an option.
Yeah.
Look what happened when the fella married the American lassie the last time. The whole place went mental.
Yep.
And see, when you look at the background papers, the government were really to do that guy. You know what I mean? The government were establishment. They weren't very open to the idea of love. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think now these generations on, something's changed, but I'm no naive. I think what you say, I know it's nailed in too deep for it just to drop off.
Yeah. Yeah.
There need to be some kind of conscience in it that said, can't do this anymore, you know. See, these kids they don't know how to do that, do they? They don't know how to. Same as I don't know how to sit in Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
They don't know how to sit here and think that way, maybe, you know.
Occupying a different world, you know, just like, and obviously perceiving the world in a completely different way, you know. It's quite unhealthy, I think, to actually look up to them as if somehow they're better than you.
Never.
You know?
Never.
And unfortunately, that's kind of what we do in this society, is we teach children to look at them as if somehow they're better than you, and that they're the ones that are shaping the world to be how it is. But it's us. We make all this kind of stuff, you know. It's not them.
No, I write wee sonnets. I think I maybe said in the last show, I write wee sonnets, but I don't think I read any out of the last one. Maybe one I did. But see that homage and doffing the cap, it's everywhere, and it's been everywhere for a long time. You see it in the Government Town Hall, and you see it in all our buildings. And tourists and all that come to Glasgow, and they look up and they love every bit of it. That's all hobbies, yeah. Now, I don't know if we get time. I've got one wee sonnet.
Go for it.
Right, wait to hear this thing. And it's exactly, I write the sonnets because they're quite proper. But I like it that when you've read the thing out, you took proper and threw it right up the spout. You know what I mean? So wait to hear this. It's called The Gargoyles. And it's what we see in all our stuff. I'll let it speak for itself. Angelic cherubs cradle ships in arms. Sandstone zephyrs blow for commerce well. Frieze adorned in neoclassic charms. Cutting prow thrust through fierce ocean swell. Slave ones sea trade and celebrations. As plundered trinketry and display. Fair city, dress and fenestration. Disguise in art how Glasgow made her way. Noble benefactors, merchant city fathers. Aye, traded rich in blood and human bone. Reaping forth what ill profit gathers. Our second city, she hides her sons in stone. The hearts and minds of those who stole the spoils be clearly seen in all our fine gargoyles. So that's what I think. All our establishment and all our big Gothic gear and all our statues.
Yeah.
Gargoyles. So that's what I think the whole show is kind of wrapped up in.
Yep.
We've got an establishment that's always kidding us on. I mean, a media doing it as well. And even our statues are all telling us lies.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about gazing up at the sort of monarchy, is like, you're not actually sharing in any of that. You know, you're not, you know, a lot of people say, oh, well, if we just didn't have that anymore, it'd be such a disaster. But you're not getting to be a part of that. You're only getting to look at it.
You're told lies.
I mean, really, you know, when we actually look at the serious problems that are going on in society, you know. Anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to listen to Gordon Ross speaking about the situation in Catalonia. We'll have a bit of a chat about Catalonia, and just because of time, we'll wrap it after that with a poem from Shaun Moore. So, Kevin, are we okay to play the Gordon Ross speaking about Catalonia? Yeah, okay, just 1 second.
I think the situation in Catalonia is at the moment poised because the Spanish government has now tried a last roll of the dice, and this last roll of the dice is to take power away from the Catalan government, to fire all its ministers and to call a new election. Their aim obviously is to try and get these people out of office legally through the use of this election. But the point is now that the Catalan government is fighting an election campaign from Brussels. I think 40 of their elected officials are now assembled in Brussels and fighting the campaign there to get re-elected. And my own feeling is that the Catalans will overwhelmingly elect the Puigdemont and his party back into power with an even bigger majority. And I suspect that Puigdemont, if he has a grain of sense about him, will use this election as a direct mandate for independence. He will say, if you vote for us, you are voting for independence. And so if you make your vote for us and we win, then independence is going to be the result. I think Puigdemont had very little option in terms of what he could do to achieve independence. He had to force the hand of the Spaniards because the constitution wouldn't allow any other means of obtaining independence peacefully. So he had to force this move, and he's done so, I think, quite well. I can't see that he's made any missteps, although I'm astonished actually at how violent the Spanish police were during their attempt to prevent the vote from happening, when they could quite easily have just said that no matter what the result of the vote was, it was illegal and therefore it wouldn't stand. Either way, Puigdemont, I think, played it right, but the Spaniards have now probably done something which is counterproductive, and I think that has turned most Catalans now to the view that independence is what they want, that the Spanish government can't be trusted on this anymore, and maybe they'll win their independence this time. It's a gamble, but I think it looks like the odds are tipping more in favour of the Catalonians getting their independence now.
Okay, right, so there's a few things we can talk about there. I'm just going to make an announcement. Bridges for Indy and ANC Escocia on Saturday the 16th of this month at 1 PM. There's going to be demonstrations in Aberdeen, Dundee, Dunfermline, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Inverness, Perth and Stirling. Okay, so if you want to be involved in these demonstrations, it's assemble at 12. So in each place, assemble by 12, and I think everybody kicks off at 1 o'clock. Sorry, I've just been past this. So if you go to Bridges for Indy on Facebook, okay, you'll get all the information there. You can click going on the event. ANC Escocia is involved in this as well. Okay, so there'll be rallies and processions taking off at 1 o'clock. Okay, so yeah, so wear yellow. That's the if you can bring an Estelada like we've got here, brilliant. Not everybody can get a hold of these at short notice, but wear yellow in solidarity with our brothers and sisters over there in Catalonia. And I think we should maybe all start maybe wearing a yellow ribbon or something like that, just day to day, just now, just to show that we, it might not be in the mainstream media, but it's certainly not been lost up here what's actually going on. This is an absolute outrage. What's going on? It's supposed to be a modern democratic country, Spain. Puigdemont, the international arrest warrant was dropped the other day by the Spanish Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court took over that decision and dropped it. I mean, there was a very shaky foundation to how the case for an international arrest warrant. It looks like they knew it was going to be rejected by the Belgian judge. There could have been negative consequences. It would certainly have made them look, inept. Another way of looking at it, of course, they maybe want to say, okay, Puigdemont's got to come back now because there's no warrant for him. But then, of course, what's happening inside Catalonia is that they've kept two elected ministers in jail, along with two campaign organisers. The two Geordies are still in jail, refused bail, all for the two Geordies organised demonstrations and a campaign, for independence.
Incredible.
And of course, the ministers carried out their mandate as per democratically elected to do so. So, how do you feel about Catalonia just now? I mean, I know it's been going on for a wee while.
I think that if they want their independence, then they should just be given it, to be honest.
Well,
That's my views on it.
There's some contrast to our own, eh? That's been quite startling. And I can remember when Scotland was doing their thing in 2014. That Spanish minister was really angry, can you remember?
Yeah.
And I think the fellas went to the EEC news, and it was that, but I can't remember his name, but he was the Spanish Prime Minister at the time, and he's moved on now. They were raging, and that's what they were raging for, wasn't it? Because they could see it going to happen at their own place. The fella said there on the TV when he says they could have took a couple of options there. They could have said, look, go and vote all you want, it's an illegal one.
Yeah.
But see them putting the police and the powers that be into that, we wouldn't appreciate that.
No.
They've really shot themselves literally in the foot there, because what they've done is, this is a bit like it. It's a bit like, we don't like it when we hear the Houthis and the Tutsis running about with machetes and hitting each other. We think that's more savage than we beat while we shoot each other. That same comparison goes in politics. And the Scottish independence and the Catalonian one have really showed two different governments and how they're going to handle it, and they've done themselves no favours. So it's kind of a lot of the world that wasn't even independence kind of thinking can say, look at this, look at this. And so it's not really what you're asking for, it's what the government's stopping you attaining. Yeah. And that's what I think one of the biggest things with the Spanish thing that's opened up a lot of European minds. I think the whole of Europe thought, okay, we can all go for independence and it'll be like the Scots did, not a bit of blood spilled. This has really showed you a different view on somebody wanting independence.
I mean, the idea that democracy can be a crime. I mean, when have you ever heard of that? You know, to go and to vote is something that will get you, a baton across the head. And we saw women, we saw the elderly, we saw, just vulnerable people, and no one was actually, no one was actually resisting as such. No. We were purely standing there and holding the ground, and to great success. In many cases, they actually managed to beat the police, not by fighting back, but by surging in numbers and just being more than the police, so they couldn't get that mass of bodies out of the way, just to protect the right to put, their vote in a ballot box. Ballot boxes which were, had to be hidden in France. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
And you used the word democracy there.
Yep.
How can there be 3 or 4 different democracies? I'm fully aware that there are. But if you're talking about democracy, see, it's no democracy, we've got capitalism. Then you can say we've got democracy. But we have never got capitalism. And then we've got whatever else you want to call it. And I think you can see what we've seen in Spain. Boy, it quite shocked me, you know what I mean? You're used to footage in America and that, and guys tooled up and battering into crowds. See, when it became European like that, it's like, oh. And it was big time. You know, it wasn't just a wee thing, wasn't it? No, it was actually a government showing its full strength
Yeah, yeah.
to grannies and wains and people in their own streets.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like it's just, I'm quite sure, having lived and worked in Spain, that's what they wanted people to see.
I know.
They wanted to show this is what we do.
I know.
We've got our people under control. It was a macho posturing.
It's terrible. Exactly, that's what they wanted.
They weren't trying to hide that. I mean, they actually hid it from their own people, because there were many Spanish people. I mean, I've worked with some Spanish people, and they were like, no, that didn't happen, because they were sheltered from it, But that was actually the image they really wanted to project to the rest of Europe,
Well, it's not a healthy image.
Yeah.
It's not to be applauded anyway.
No, absolutely not. Do you think Puigdemont and his government played it the right way?
I don't think there was really a right way for them to play it. The Spanish constitution, of course you have to ask who wrote these things anyway, makes whatever they were going to do in terms of seeking independence was an illegal act in itself. So illegality is something that's very different from being morally a wrong stance to take. And we shouldn't sit here and say, well, in Scotland in 2014 our government wouldn't do that.
No.
They would do it, genuinely. They did it in 1919 when
no,
the tanks were sent up and held in strength along at the Brigade, ready to go into George Square.
No, I'm aware of that.
Too much for it to go over that way.
Yep.
See, when I say that it wouldn't have happened, what I mean is what you've kind of identified. It wouldn't have happened that open, pick a day, it all happens now. That was kind of ours. I thought there was maybe always danger of that happening if something sparked off somewhere like that, But that's what I do think, the contrast to be seen between the two of them. Again, maybe not ourselves. People who are non-political thinking will see that contrast more than us, if you know what I mean, because they'll be less looking at it in depth. They'll just see that and that. But I do appreciate what you're saying there, of course.
But I think it also gives the unionists yet again another fear weapon to hold. That if you vote for independence, this could happen to you. And I think the whole union campaign in 2014 was based on fear.
Oh, what?
And you look at the way things are actually done, say even in advertising, how much of it is done through fear of bodily smells or something, there is a massive manipulation of our minds. And the fact that a government in Europe could turn violent against its own people in a so-called democracy, and the rest of the world effectively silence, apart from the likes of grassroots in places like Glasgow. I was there on the march they did from George Square down to La Passionera at Clydeside. And I think that's why it's important people turn out this forthcoming demonstration. What was it, 14th?
It's the 16th, Saturday the 16th.
Right.
So it's in every Scottish city and also in Dunfermline as well. So people have been asked to assemble at 12 o'clock. So if you check out Bridges for Indy on Facebook and try and get the information from there, everyone wear yellow in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Catalonia. Okay, well, unless anybody's got anything else they want to jump in with right now, I'll just draw things to a close. Going to thank everyone that's joined us. We're going to thank the production team. So we've got Mickey Mercury on camera and Fiona on social media. Kev's been through there on production. Thanks very much. I've got Robert Fullerton, who's joined me as a guest and co-presenter tonight. It's been brilliant, Robert.
Lovely.
And I want to thank the studio audience and all you at home for joining us. Join us again. We're going to go live with this on the last Thursday of January, and hopefully we'll do this once a month thereafter. Okay?
Great.
So, Kev, if you would like to play Shaun Moore's poem, Catalonia, and then we'll call it a night.
You were asking about the Catalan issue just now. This is not you. Catalonia, Hispania, a long and bloody history, and only a cheap flight away. But news that never quite manages to reach our screens and our pages. In the old days, paying for holidays and watching glamorous football teams and condoning the torture carried out by a fascist regime. Because it was all just fun in the sun. Cheap Gerveda, sangria and blood-led Rioja flowing like the tears of La Pasionaria. It was ever struggle and ever fight, alongside the international brigades and La Lucha Continua in the following decades, with trade union lawyers murdered within my lifetime. And the British media, as always, played it selectively blind. It was like a 70s racial stereotype might say, "I know nothing," wee vacant catchphrase. It was always waiters and maids or footballers portrayed, greasy cliched sticks, then back to broadcasting for the superior Brits. Mind your language with duty free and Benidorm, a place in the sun for English middle classes to snap up second homes. And today, there's elected officials arrested, party activists, peaceful protesters jailed, and today, as ever, as always, the British establishment media fails. But just for once, this time, not through Anglo-centric blinker views, but this time, is to shield it from me and for you. So they might not be reporting Scotland, but they'll be watching Scotland, hatching plans for their next move. So when young Dolores was rising up near 100 years ago, her brothers and her sisters were doing the same here around Rioja, Glasgow. And the Tories, they sent in the tanks and the troops, just as in Barcelona today. Make no mistake, Scotland, they'd do the same again. But Brexit laughing stocks of shambles, it's unravelling no too neat. Brute force would make their power grab so much more complete. So whether you see Catalonia as a nation, or a region, or somewhere in betwixt, show them some solidarity, Scotland. Because if we tolerate this, all it'll be